we are going to run through the mount retention drill. One of the important things that we need to understand with mount retention is if we find ourselves in a self-defense situation and we're pinning our attacker, we need to understand control and ways that we can control our opponent to stop them from bucking us off and getting into a more disadvantaged position. Okay, a scenario might be, for example, we're at a house party and we want to control someone that we don't want to hurt, but also making sure that they can't inflict damage on us. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. Okay, so let's have a look and break that down. So we're going to have our opponent flat on our back. We start this whole process of controlling someone with hip placement. Okay, so my hands are wide base. Alright. If my attacker decides to bridge and buck me off this way, I want to be ready. So all I'm doing is I use my hand as a handbrake behind the back of his head, and my other hand is used to post out. You'll notice too, my other leg is curled behind the back of his knee, and that stops him from bucking me off. If, however, I don't have this position and I don't hook my leg, he goes and he can buck me off. So I want to be ready. So as my opponent tries to drive me this way, my handbrake, my leg hooks behind the back of his leg, and my hand posts out on the ground. We reset the position. He goes the other way. I catch wide base to stop, and also my leg. Okay. Another common scenario is someone that's untrained is just going to try and bench press you off. So as they push up on your chest, my hands are going to swim on the inside. Okay. If, however, he tries to buck me off, he might even try and use his hands on my hips. Okay. And a common escape for this is what Ant does is he bridges and he shoots his knees on the inside. So to counter that, what I'm going to do is as he goes to buck me up with his hips, I lift his head up and I pick his head up like a handbrake. So I want to crunch his head forward and I use good hip pressure, and I'm kind of like I'm skydiving. I'm here. Okay. Another common scenario is if my opponent rolls all the way, I want to be ready to counter that. So my knee is going to slide up towards his head. Okay. I'll do it this side so you can see with more look. So here, I slide my knee up to Ant's ear, and I have my foot next to his hip. Okay. So as he goes this way again, my knee next to his head and my foot where his hip is. Now, if my opponent gets to all fours, I want to be ready. Okay, so I insert my leg as a hook. I get my left hook in and my right hook in. So I'm sitting all my weight on my training partner's hips. Now my hands come on the inside. And I'm going to use my hands, kind of like a jockey. I'm going to thrust my hips forward and I'm going to flatten them down. Okay, and obviously if this is self-defense, we can decide what we want to do from here. We can inflict strikes, or if you want to be a little bit more nice, we can go for various chokes. We can use conversing, pain compliance, etc. Say, calm down, I'll release if you calm down. All right, so let's have a look at that one more time. So we're here, we've taken the fight to the ground. Our opponent is trying to buck us off. He bridges this way. I use my hand as a handbrake. So hand place catch, my other arm behind the back of his head, and my hook behind his knee. He goes flat, we go the other side. Boom, I catch, leg catches underneath. He tries to bench press me off, I swing my arms underneath. Okay, another common scenario is he tries to buck me, with his hands on my hips. So I lift his head up and then I thrust my hips forward. Okay? If my opponent rolls to the side, I want to be ready. So I allow him to get to his side and I slide my knee up nice and tight next to his head, and my foot is nice and close next to his hip. If my opponent decides to roll to all fours, I want to be ready. Okay? So I insert my left leg as a hook and my right foot. Now from here I can insert my arms underneath to grab the wrists, and then I'm going to thrust my hips forward, and then obviously for self-defense in the street, I can decide what I want to do from now. Okay? And that is the mount retention drill.